What's up, guys? Neil Orfield here, and I'm going to take a look at Stokastic's MLB DFS Lineup Generator for tonight's slate. It is Tuesday. If you have not yet signed up for the Lineup Generator, you can still get it for 50% off your first week. So it'll just be $4.48 for your first week if you use the link in the description of this video on YouTube or in my tweet. Again, just $4.48 for your first week. It's going to be $8.95 per week after that, which I think is still a fantastic deal for a tool that only gives you long-term profitable lineups. They've been run through the Stokastic Sims. Every lineup you're going to get from the lineup generator is going to be a long-term profitable lineup. All right, I'm going to start by taking a look at some DraftKings lineups. And these are the settings that I use when I use this tool. I'm going to do all stack types, and I'm going to do all lineup types. We're going to get a mix of chalky, balanced, and contrarian lineups here. And I'm not going to lock anybody in. Want to give me the best lineups, not force anything in here. All right. First lineup we're looking at is a 5-man Houston stack. I think it's a 5-0 stack with, then we have Manny Machado, Ronald Acuna, and Mike Yastrzemski as one-offs. Along with that 5-man Houston stack, we've got Tariq Skubal and Jordan Montgomery as the pitchers. Let's take a look at how Skubal and Montgomery look in the top pitchers tool. Montgomery down at 6th overall in top 2 pitcher odds, 11% chance of being a top 2 pitcher. Looks like we were pretty flat in terms of top 2 pitcher odds on DraftKings today. And then Tariq Skubal down. He's a pretty middling chance of being a top 2 pitcher, but 8% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, kind of middle of the board, little, top half of the board there. So we got Skubal, got Montgomery, and then we had that 5-man Houston stack, which is top of the board. 21% chance of Houston. Okay, they're in Coors Field. That explains it. 21% chance of the Astros being the top stack on the board today. They're going to get the most ownership on the slate, 15% projected ownership, but 21% chance of being the top stack. My guess is that we're going to get a lot of Astros in our lineups here. All right, I'm going to go through, but this one, it's not all the way on the chalky end of the spectrum. It's kind of middle of the board in terms of chalkiness here. So it looks like a good lineup to me. I'm going to save this one. Man, I had not noticed Ronald Acuna up to 6,600. That is, don't know if I've ever seen a batter any higher than that. All right. Next up, we've got another 5-man Astro stack. It's another 5-0 stack with Jarren Duran, CJ Abrams, and Nico Horner as the one-offs. We got Brian Wu in this one, 45% projected ownership on Brian Wu, and then 9% on Hunter Brown, bringing down that ownership a little bit. So looking in the top pitchers tool, we've got Brian Wu top of the board. That explains where we're getting 41% ownership here. He's top of the board here, 18% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, a little bit of a gap after him, 5% gap to Nathan Eovaldi, and he's only 7,900. Looks like just a misprice for Brian Wu here. And then we had who's our Hunter Brown as our secondary pitcher. Interesting. We have Hunter Brown in Colorado. Hunter Brown in this Coors game. That explains the 7% ownership. We got a 9% chance of being a top 2 pitcher. And then we had that Astros stack again. All right, I'm going to save this one, and then I'm just going to save the next 20 lineups and see what our exposures look like. And you'll see that the chalk meter bounces all over because I did a mix of lineup types. But then the projection always going to be, top 10% or so. All right, so as expected, we got to a lot of Astros in Coors Field. Kyle Tucker, 70%. Mauricio Dubon, 65%. Jose Abreu, 60%. And Corey Julks, 60% before we reach anybody who's not on the Astros. Then we get Brian Wu in there. Makes sense. He's just too cheap for how good he is. And then we got, of course, Gainer Diaz and Alex Bregman, Jeremy Pena, all towards the top of the board as well. Jordan Montgomery sneaking in there. So a lot of Astros. I'd be okay with this in a 20 lineup set. Again, I'm more willing to take on more risk in just 20 lineups. It's more risky to play a lot of lineups with the same players, the same type of stacks. I'd probably be okay with it. But if you wanted to do anything, I might go back and get rid of some of these Astros stacks. But again, we have really nice leverage on the Astros. So not the end of the world for me if I do end up with 70% of some Astros bat. All right, I'm going to go find some FanDuel lineups. Again, I'm going to do all stack types, all lineup types, not lock anybody in. All right, first lineup on FanDuel, only 84% overall ownership to this lineup. It is a 4-3 Cubs, 4-4 Cubs and Astros in this one. The Cubs bringing down the ownership a little bit. Cody Bellinger, just 1% ownership. Patrick Wisdom, 4%. We also have just a 6% ownership on Jeremy Pena in that Astros stack, and only 5% on Corey Jelks. Kind of interesting seeing some of these Astros go in lower owned on FanDuel. And then, of course, we have Patrick Sandoval, 5% owned pitcher here. And looking in the tools on FanDuel, Patrick Sandoval we're looking for. Where is he here? Middle of the board, Patrick Sandoval, 4% chance of being the top pitcher on FanDuel. But the highest on the board is Nathan Eovaldi at 6%. So, pretty flat on FanDuel. Nobody getting like 20% chance of being the top pitcher. So looking okay there. And then in terms of the top stacks, so we got Cubs and Astros here. Astros top of the board, 21% chance of being the top stack, 15% ownership. And then the Cubs we have at, they got Patrick Corbin, 4% chance of being the top stack at 6% ownership. Looks like a good lineup overall, not very chalky, very far on the contrarian end of the spectrum, and projects well. I like that one. I'm going to save that. Also interesting, leaving 900 on the table. All right, the next lineup we have a 4-4 Astros and Braves stack now with Taj Bradley as the pitcher. Bradley a little bit higher in terms of top pitcher odds, 4% chance of being the top pitcher, still 5% projected ownership. And then we had the Astros and the Braves. Braves are third on the board in terms of top stack odds, 8% chance of being the top stack at 10% ownership. All right, I'm going to save 20 lineups now and just see what the exposures end up looking like. Now we get 80% Kyle Tucker, big drop off to number 2, 55% Alex Bregman. I'd probably go back, get rid of a couple Kyle Tucker lineups, at least bring that down, 70%. I probably want to get more like 65, 60% Kyle Tucker, but I'm really nitpicking here, and that's pretty arbitrary, these numbers I'm setting. It's just a matter of how much risk do you want to put on Kyle Tucker. He's in course. He's in as good of a spot as you can hope for. If you want to play 100% Kyle Tucker, there is nothing wrong with that. If you can find only good lineups in here. So if you find 20 lineups that all have Kyle Tucker in them, they're all going to be positive EV lineups. You just know if Kyle Tucker has a bad game, your lineups are going to suffer as a result. So it's just a matter of risk tolerance. I'd probably cut back a little bit on my Astro stacks, or at the very least on my Astro stacks that have Kyle Tucker in them, if I were to go back and do anything. But overall, I think I'm okay with having a good amount of Astros, given how good they look in the top stacks tool. Some nice positive leverage at 15% ownership and 21% chance of being the top stack. Really love to see that. Anyway, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. Again, if you haven't hit that like button, really would appreciate it. Good luck tonight.